Hi mathematicians, today is lesson 10's problem set, and in this lesson we're using the distributive property as a strategy to multiply and divide. So we're going to be looking for some friendly facts to try to solve these big problems. So if we look at number 1, it says label the arrays, fill in the blanks below to make the statements true. So for number 1, we're trying to solve 8 times 8. It's a lot of rows and columns, right? So let's look at this one. We've got 8 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we've got 8 in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it looks like I have to get my pen back here. Now, you can see they've made it into gray chips and white chips. So we're thinking about this as two separate problems. We've seen this dotted line before, dividing our problem into a 5 fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 8 rows of 5. So the gray section is 8 times 5, or 40. The white section we have to figure out. So we know it's still the 8 rows, but how many are in each row? 1, 2, 3. So the 3 goes here, and we have to solve that. 8 groups of 3 is equal to 24. Okay, so we've got two multiplication problems representing two different sections of our 8 by 8 array. Now, to show that like a mathematician would, we look in the box. We have 8 rows, 8 in each row. Okay, so what we do is we pull out the 8 rows and we show how we broke down the amount in each row, or the size of the group. We broke it down into a 5 plus a 3. Okay, so these are the 5 plus the 3. Now, when we solve it, we multiply 8 times 5 to get 40, plus 8 times 3. We have to multiply the 8 times the 5 and the 3, because there's 8 rows every time in this problem. We solved 8 times 3 up here, so we get 24. So to get the answer, we have to add those two together. So what is 40 plus 24? 64. Okay, so 8 times 8, fill it in at the top, is 64. Okay, we've done these problems before. They're just getting to be bigger and bigger numbers each time. Okay, so our next problem is 8 times 9. So again, we're breaking it down into a friendly 5 fact. We just solved 8 times 5, so we know that's 40. Now we have to solve the section with the white circles. So we still have 8 rows, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in each row, okay, for a total of 9 across. And if you think about it, the 5 plus the 4 is 9. So what is 8 times 4? 32. All right, so let's be mathematicians and solve the box. So the problem was 8 times 9. We broke it down into 8 rows times a size of 5 plus a size of 4. Okay, that's the white side. Now we multiply 8 times 5 to get 40. And then we add to that 8 rows times 4 in each row, or 32. So to get the answer to 8 times 9, we add these two together to get 72. And we follow that up by filling it in up at the top. That's the distributive property. All right, number 2. Break apart to solve 56 divided by 8. We've done these before, just a little bit, but these division ones can be harder, especially when you see number 3 where we've got a missing piece. Okay, so the problem is 56 divided by 8. They broke it down for us into a group of 40 divided by 8 and 16 divided by 8. And we have to solve each of those pieces to find the answer to 56 divided by 8. So we write it down at the bottom. 56 divided by 8 is equal to the 40 divided by 8 plus 16 divided by 8, that other part. Let's think about it. 40 plus 16 gives us the 56. Now we have to solve those little pieces. So 40 divided by 8 is 5. That's why they made it 40, because we know 5 times 8 is 40. If we're dividing, we'll get the answer of 5. Now we have to solve 16 divided by 8. Well, if you think about it, if I double 8, I get 16. So 16 divided by 8 is 2. Now when I add those two together, I get 7. That's the answer to 56 divided by 8. All right, and number 3. Break apart to solve 72 divided by 8. So this is our big problem, and we've got two separate pieces. One is 40 divided by 8, and we have to figure out the other piece. So if you look at this other one, we had to add 40 plus 16 to get 56. So think about it as 40 plus what gets us to 72? Or 72 minus 40 is what? So if I look at these two, I can see it's 32 divided by 8 is my other piece. All right. So my main problem is 72 divided by 8. So I've got the 40 divided by 8 piece. I add that to the other piece, which is 32 divided by 8. Then I solve those pieces. So 40 divided by 8 is 5, and 32 divided by 8 is 4. And 5 plus 4 is an easy problem, that's 9. So the answer to 72 divided by 8 is 9. All right, let's go to the next page. It says an octagon has 8 sides. Skip count to find the total number of sides on 9 octagons. So here we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 octagons. So we have to count by 8s. So we have 8, 16, 24, then 32, and 40. 48, 56, 64, and 72. So you could count each one of these sides to get to this point. Best thing to do is memorize it. Practice, practice, practice. So 9 octagons have a total of 72 sides. All right, the problem we just solved was 9 times 8 equals 72. All right, so we could probably use these now in our next several problems. And I'm going to have to scroll up, but you can look at yours. 4 times 8, so that's 4 groups of 8 is 32. Now we've got 8 times 6, 8 groups of 6. Well, we don't have groups of 6 labeled up on top of this page. We have groups of 8, so let's think about it as 6 groups of 8. And we get 48, right? So if you go here, this is 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups, 6 groups. There it is. This is 7, 8, and 9. I'm going to circle those so they stay separate from my problem I wrote earlier. All right. Now we have 3 times 8, so that's 3 groups of 8, 24. 8 times 10, I love my tens facts because that's an easy 80. 8 times 8 is 64. And 7 times 8 is 56. Those are our 8 facts. Okay. All right, let's go to the next page. Now we have to match the umbrella with the raindrop. So again, we're working with our 8 facts. So you can go back to that second page of the problem set to check your work. 24 divided by 8 is 3. Now I've got 32 divided by 8. That's more than the 24, so I know my answer is going to be more than 3. It's only more by 1 group, so my answer has to be 4. 16 divided by 8, that's a low group or number, so we're going to go to 2. 64 divided by 8, I remember that problem from the multiplication section, that's 8. 48 divided by 8, okay, well I know 5 groups of 8 are 40, and this is only 1 more, so that must be 6 groups. And then 72 divided by 8. Well, 64 divided by 8 was 8, so 72 divided by 8 must be 9. So we didn't even use all the raindrops on this page. They skipped the easy ones. All right, so that is the end of problem set number 10. Go ahead and get started on your homework and practice using the distributive property as a strategy to multiply and divide.